What is going on, guys? Welcome back to We Want Picks. My name is Jacob, aka the Freckled Salamander, here to bring you my quick pick video for UFC Vegas 94. But before we get into this week's video, we have to reflect back to last week because we killed it once again. Our bets were incredible. Lock of the week, hit back-to-back Brazilians, and we'll see this week if we get another one for Lock of the Week. Not only did the bets hit last week, but we got incredible value for premium members. So make sure you go to WeWantPicks.com. Become a premium member today. It's only $10 a month. The summer is running out. What are we doing? We got Jasmine at plus 145. We got Luana Santos minus 270. And we got the Lock of the Week, John Silva at plus 130. Absolutely dominated. And we're looking to dominate this card. Guys, I know this card isn't the greatest card. This is a tough card. Last week I said was a tough card. The picks weren't great. The bets still hit because we picked our spots. And we're going to try to do the exact same thing this week. The picks might be a little bit wishy-washy, right? I mean, all these fights are close fights. I'm looking at the Tapology right now. Luana Carolina, Trey Ogden. We got Brian Kelleher's, Mohammed Usman's. Bad fight cards are still better than no fight cards. I will take a bad fight card any day of the week. And honestly, some of these matchups could have been pretty good. So let's get into this quick pick video. Make sure you like the video first of all. Subscribe if you are new. WeWantPicks.com. $10 a month. $10 a month. So we got Mohammed Usman versus Thomas Petersen. Heavyweight matchup, probably going to be sloppy, probably going to get messy. We know Thomas Petersen is going to come in, try to get those takedowns that he could not get against Jamal Pokes, and he was beat up in that fight. But I will say this, Jamal Pokes has got a pretty snappy jab. And unless Mohammed Usman has adopted that Kamaru jab, which he does try to do, right? He will throw that out there, but a lot of his strikes are a little bit sloppy. You know, I think Thomas Petersen, even if he isn't able to get the takedowns against big Mohammed Usman, I think the striking is going to be back and forth, and the pressure from Thomas Petersen is going to be enough to win rounds. But like a lot of these fights, this is going to be a close fight. If Thomas Petersen's able to get the takedowns, I believe he's going to be able to maybe dominate this fight. If he doesn't, it's probably going to be close. I know a lot of people are going to be on Usman. I get it. I'm not, you know my strategy. Stay away from heavyweight fights in general. I'm staying away from this one. As a pick, I'm going Thomas. Gonna be sloppy. Glad we're getting it over with early. Let's move on to the next one. Luana Carolina versus Lucie. Pudilova. Another fight that this is going to be a little back and forth. Could turn sloppy. And the sloppier this fight turns and the longer this fight goes, it's going to favor a girl like Luana Carolina, because it seems like as the fight goes, she gets more and more wild. And that wild stuff kind of pays off. She'll do the spinning stuff, some wild stuff, even grab girls and just kind of drag them to the ground. And we've seen Lucie Pudilova get kind of exposed in the grappling lately. But I believe that Lucie's going to be the more technical striker. In a fight like this, sometimes that doesn't matter because Luana will stay in your face and make it a sloppy fight. The sloppier this fight looks, it's going to favor a girl like Luana. The cleaner this fight looks, it's going to favor a girl like Lucie. I think Lucie can keep it clean long enough to win this fight. But again, close fight. Who the fuck knows? I'm going Lucie. I'm not putting money on either one of these girls. I think some people might be. Not going to be me. Let's move on to the next one. Loik, Rad versus Trey Ogden. And Trey Ogden's a pretty popular pick here. I've seen the Discord already. I've seen some tweets from some people, right? I don't watch anybody else's breakdowns, but I can get the general theme. And a lot of people like Trey Ogden this week. And I get it, because Loik is sloppy. He will start to slow down. His power is probably a little bit overrated. His wrestling is probably a little bit overrated. And Trey Ogden has shown he can kind of weather the storm in a lot of fights, kind of take over late, win a decision. Maybe get this guy out of here. But I will say, the one thing that worries me the most out of anything is Trey Ogden will back up, he will let the fighters pressure them, and he has trouble getting off the fence. And when he gets off the fence, a lot of times he's dropping his hands. And what does Loik do better than, I don't want to say better than anybody, but what does he do the best? He pressures you against the fence, and that's when he throws his big power shot. So I know that people are Trey Ogden, and I get people picking Trey Ogden, but I would be very careful here because Loik's going to back him up early. And when Trey is exiting those situations with his hands down, right, get a little bit sloppy. It just takes one of these shots to really hurt this guy. So, unfortunately, I'm going Loik here because I'm trying to play 1 + 1 = 2, right? A guy that is already going to put his back against the fence, against a guy that wants to put you there and throw these big power shots, maybe mixing the takedown against the fence. I'm going Loik, but again, like the first few fights, like a lot of fights on this card, not putting money on Loik as a pick. He is my pick. It's not real confident. I'm just trying to think of that. Yeah, you got to put him against the fence. He might land a shot. We'll see how it plays out. Let's go on to the next one. Miranda Maverick versus Dione Barbosa. I just don't think Miranda Maverick's that good. You know, and sue me for it, and people are going to hate me for it. She's the biggest favorite on the card. She's got decent wrestling. I think her takedowns are sloppy. And what, like a 40-some% takedown accuracy because it's her entries, right, that are very slow and methodical. She doesn't really have the hands to set up the entry, so it's a lot of sloppy striking, slow striking to get to these kind of slow, sloppy takedowns. She's got a decent single, but even when she's on a single, sometimes she just doesn't do the right things. If she gets a single and she gets you down and she's on top of you, she's a very good wrestler on top. Not super dangerous, right? Especially against people that know how to grapple as well. But she's just kind of sloppy everywhere. She doesn't seem like she's making improvements in the striking, right? And if you watch what's her name? Last fight, Andrea Lee fight. If you watch that Andrea Lee fight, and you saw her like pick it up Miranda Maverick, slam her down, using the judo tosses to get Miranda and try to reverse those positions. As good as Miranda Maverick is in the wrestling, the issue is she could also be counter-wrestled and out-grappled pretty easily. You're looking at this girl, Dione. I think she's going to be a faster striker. I think she's going to be the better striker. She's a judo national champion. So on those entries from Miranda, she should see some judo tosses. Black belt jiu-jitsu. I think she's the better pure grappler than Miranda Maverick. So I'm looking at these Miranda Maverick odds, minus 220, biggest favorite on the card. No thank you. I'm going with my Brazilian, Dione, to get it done. Let's move on to the next one. Brian Kelleher versus Cody Gibson, the former biggest favorite on the card, Cody Gibson, which was like a kind of a wild situation, right? I mean, Cody Gibson, Miranda Maverick, the two biggest favorites on the card. Now we got the odds moving around a lot, right? Cody Gibson should win this fight. Brian Kelleher came off neck surgery in his last fight and it didn't look good, all this stuff. Should be pretty cut and dry. Cody Gibson is not a great fighter, but he should be good enough to beat a guy like Brian Kelleher. Brian Kelleher is probably going to be winging those right hands, and if Cody Gibson shoots a takedown, it's going to be looking for that guillotine. But other than that, it should be a Cody Gibson fight. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. He just should be better. I mean, sometimes you just look at a fight and you're like, hey, this guy should win. It's pretty much as easy as that. It should win, but again, minus 200 for a guy like Cody Gibson. I need higher talent level than that. I'm not playing it. Let's move on to the next one. Amil versus Jeong Lee. I'm a big Korean Tiger man. I'm a big Korean Tiger man, a big Korean Tiger fan. There's no doubt about that. The Blake Builder fight, I was all over Jeong Lee, and that wasn't a popular pick, but I knew that this dude got some dog in him. This dude's got some dog, and not only is he skilled in the striking, but a lot of people were like, oh, Blake Builder's going to take him down, right? Kind of reminded me of that, like, Vinicius, Ricky Simone fight a little bit. Oh, Blake Builder's just going to get the takedown. This guy can't grapple. He's a black belt. He knows how to grapple, and he showed not only does he know how to just grapple, but he can defend takedowns and reverse positions to get takedowns on the road. He just absolutely outworked Blake Builder in that fight with his own offensive wrestling, offensive grappling. In this fight, I see more of the same. Hyder is going to come in. He's a tough dude, right? He's an undefeated guy. He's already 34 at a 9-0 record. He is a tough dude, right? But he almost lost his... If that other dude didn't completely gas in his Contender Series fight, he probably would have lost that. Against Fernie, he came in. He was smoking Fernie, but again, got a little bit sloppy, lost position, almost lost that fight versus my dude, Fernie. I just think that Jeong Lee is going to be way too technical for him, and he's not going to be able to outwork a guy like Jeong Lee. And even in those positions, when he's trying to outwork Jeong Lee, the Korean Tiger, I believe Korean Tiger is going to beat him to every single position. So I am all over Jeong Lee in this matchup. Go to we1picks.com to see what kind of bet I've placed. It's one of my bigger bets of the year. Spoiler, Let's move on to the next one. Choi versus Bill Algeo. This one's a tough one to call. A lot of tough fights on this matchup. I respect Bill Algeo and his toughness, the karate style. This is probably going to be a back and forth fight. That karate style is a little bit hard to get inside of, especially a guy that's not crazy active like Choi, right? A lot of time off. He came back, looked great against Kyle Nelson, actually beat Kyle Nelson. We know how good Kyle Nelson has looked lately, right? He beat Kyle Nelson. There was like a weird, like small headbutt, a point deduction. That's why that fight was a draw. But he beat Kyle Nelson, came off that long layoff and looked really, really sharp. And that's why I got to go with him in this matchup. I understand the toughness, everything that Bill Algeo brings, and this could be a close fight, and the stance and everything could give Choi some problems. But we know how tough this guy is. We know he can get in the pocket and throw some hands. I believe he's going to have the bigger moments to steal rounds in this fight. It's probably going to be close. I understand the odds a little bit, but I'm going to Choi to get it done. Let's move on to the next one. Kurt Holobaugh versus Kaynan. Not going to try it. Kurt versus Kaynan. Kaynan is a Muay Thai black belt. I think he's a 9th degree Muay Thai black belt. But he's looking sloppy in the striking. I think, man, for a 9th degree Muay Thai black belt, you just go to Men's Warehouse and buying those black belts? Where's he getting those? Who's giving those? Because he looks sloppy in the stand-up. He will walk you down, and he will throw heavy shots, but he is sloppy in the stand-up. And I don't know. Kurt isn't, the best stand-up guy. He's known more for his jiu-jitsu, and that kind of got him into issues in his last fight. Everything was off his back, right? He couldn't do anything. I believe there's going to be a lot of grappling in this fight. And if there is a lot of grappling, I understand Kurt is known for his grappling, but I'm going with the Brazilian, the black belt, Kaynan. I think that he is a little bit more well-versed in the grappling. But this is a close fight, man. This is, I mean, again, there's so many on this fight. It's like, I'm doing a quick pick video, and I'm making picks, but every single I thought about just not even doing this video, because like every single fight, I'm like, but we got to make the video. We got to put the picks out there. We got to keep the people entertained and give them the thoughts. I'm going with the Brazilian here. Maybe there's a little bit of a bias, but I just don't see enough in Kurt in the stand-up and in the grappling. I think he can just spend too much time on his back, so I got to go Kaynan here. Not playing it. Let's move on to the next one. Steve Garcia versus Sang-Woo Choi. This comes down to chins. Chins in power, as simple as that. I understand Sang-Woo Choi is a tough dude, right? Steve Garcia, a tough dude. Sang-Woo Choi got knocked out, basically knocked out again. I mean, this guy, his chin is fading. He's getting dropped left and right. And Steve Garcia, that's just what he does to people. Simple breakdown. They're probably going to get in a firefight. And if they get in a firefight, Steve Garcia wins those firefights fucking 8 out of 10 times, 9 out of 10 times for probably anybody in the division at this point. The guy swings heavy. He can take a shot to give a shot. I think they just get a firefight and Steve does what he does, drops this guy, knocks him out. I'm going with Steve Garcia here. I'm surprised the odds are what they are. I think they're expanding a little bit, minus 145, minus 150, something like that. I'm going with Steve Garcia. Let's move on to the next one. Main event time. Brad Tavares versus Jeong Park. People love Brady, huh? People love Brady. I guess I understand, because it is a little bit, the odds probably are a little bit wide. What's Jeong Park? Minus 160, minus 170, minus 180, something like that. I know the graphics are on the screen, but I can't see them. I add them later. I think that Jeong Park's going to get to the grappling. I understand the takedown defense of Brad Tavares, but Jeong Park's one of those guys that's a little bit sneaky with the way he does takedowns, right? It's not just blast doubles, not just singles. There's a lot of trips in there, and even if he can just kind of, seat belt his way to your back, he will climb on your back. And I believe there's going to be enough control, and even in the striking, I think it's going to be Jeong Park that's going to be moving forward in the striking. So I understand that people are like, hey, he probably is not going to be able to take Brad Tavares down, so then how does he win? Well, I think even just the fence control against the cage and doing enough in the forward pressure striking is going to be enough. I think Brad's just going to be backing up, defending takedowns the whole time. It's probably going to come down to what kind of mood the judges are in, right? Do they credit the control? Do they credit the forward pressure? Do they credit the guy that looks like he wants there to fight compared to the guy that wants to wrestle? It's probably going to come down to that, so I understand the value in Brad, but I'm going with my guy, Iron Turtle here, Jeong Park. I think he can find a way to either get this dude's back or get enough control to win rounds. He's going to be my pick. Not crazy confident in it, but let's move on to the main event. We got Amanda Lemos versus Virna, Jandiroba. That's my girl, baby. Both these girls are my girl. We got Brazil versus Brazil. And it breaks my heart, man. It breaks my heart to have to choose between two Brazilian females, especially in this fight. I like both these girls. I picked both these girls probably a number of times, right? And I could see both these girls winning. This is another main event where it's like, I know for a fact that Virna's going to get a takedown in the first round. Can she get a finish in the first round? She probably can. Really good jiu-jitsu, good takedowns, good control. She's probably going to control Amanda for the entire first round. After the first round of pretty much every single Virna fight, if you watch her fight, she gets sloppy as shit. And there is no world where Lucie Godinez should have lost to Virna. She should have just defend the takedowns and punch her in the face. That's all you have to do with Virna. Defend the takedowns, punch her in the face. Because after the first round, she will even get in those situations where she gets on a single, falls back in the guard, and tries to sweep you that way. And Lucie tried to play that game with her, ended up losing because of it. Amanda probably isn't going to play that game. But she doesn't have great takedown defense, so is the sloppy takedowns of Virna still going to be effective in the first round as they are in the second round? In the second round as they are in the first round? That's the biggest question. And honestly, I don't know. I do not know. That's just a straight up honesty. She's going to get taken down. Is she going to finish Amanda in the first round? Probably not. Is she going to get a takedown in the second round? Probably not, in my opinion. I think she's just going to be too sloppy. Amanda's going to be too good in the footwork, and Virna just absolutely slows down as fights go on. So usually in a 5-round fight, whatever it is, you would favor the wrestler to get the control, whatever. Even if she gets takedowns and has all the control in the world, she still gets gassed, and she still gets sloppy as the fight goes on. So I'm going with the striker here. I'm going with Amanda Lemos because once Virna gets tired, there's really no coming back. She gets super, super sloppy. You can watch a lot of her fights in the strike. She's tough. She's resilient. But I think Amanda's going to be able to land the shot in the second, maybe in the third round. She's got to survive that first because she's probably going to get taken down. Just defend the fucking takedowns in the second. Punch her in the face. She's going to get even more desperate. And the finish should be there. This has been the quick pick video for UFC Vegas 94. Make sure you like the video. Subscribe if you are new. WeWantPicks.com, $10 a month. My name's Jacob, aka The Freaking Man. I'm out. Peace.